Okay, welcome. I'd like to welcome all the attendees and thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Cline. I'm Director of Institutional Sales for Briefing.com, of course, and with me is Damon Southward, who is the Chief Analyst, Chief Market Strategist, and goes under the mnemonic Scout. Today's focus is to talk about how to maximize and profit from using Briefing.com trader service. If time permits, we're going to attempt to answer some of the questions that you might have, so feel free at any time to type in the questions in your text box, and we'll get right to it. So let's dive right into the service. Basically, what I'd like to start looking at or begin this presentation with is how I actually show the service to many of my institutional clients. What we do is we look at, when we first start the service, we look at the stock market update page. This is a great place to start each and every morning. It gives you a snapshot as to really what you can expect for the day. Basically, it will give you the fair market value, what you can expect in terms of the trend for the day, let you know some overnight activities over Europe and the like. Obviously, we know momentum plays a big role into our markets. It gives you some top events, economic releases, any earnings, conference calls, conference information. Gives you a nice snapshot as to really what you can expect for the day. Also a great read each and every day, about a half hour before the market, is page 1. This is written by one of our chief analysts, economists, who actually give you a snapshot as to major market moving events, different activities throughout the day that you can expect to impact the market. Obviously, we know from Bernanke was speaking today, FOMC meeting, minutes were released later on. There were lots of insights. There's lots of insight in this particular page as to where you can expect the activity to play. So we start this day. The day with this page, and also throughout the day, you'll find that every half an hour it's updated with market moving events that have transpired every half an hour. So if you walk away and you want to know what actually occurred during the last half an hour, you can get a sense for that. So after you start with this, you get a sort of a good foundation as to what's going on in the expected during the day. We dive right into the heart and soul of the service, which is our live in-play page. And many of you are, of course, aware of this. We're known in the marketplace for this particular page, and primarily this page is really our live streaming actionable market intelligence page, if you will. It provides all the major flow that we have, earnings, market research, ideas, and the like. And it's a very dynamic page. Over the years, it's really expanded its coverage, and when we started the company over 17 years ago, we had about 40 to 50 stories flowing through this pipeline. Now we have upwards of 1,000. And in order to manage this particular portion of the service more effectively, we've sort of doubled your pleasure, if you will, by setting up a dual in-play page. This is where I'd like to spend a lot of our time today. This page is quite dynamic and has tremendous value add. You have two mirrored in-play pages running side by side. But the beauty of this is that you can filter the flow based on your own particular needs. Underneath the timestamp here, you have a selected filter. You can click on this, and you can see there's some preset parameters, categories already set. The way I like to have my particular screen set up is I will click the all comments, which removes all the flow, and I decide that I want just the trading calls, which includes the scalp trades, the swing trades, general trades, intraday trades on one side. And I click OK, and basically I have just now the trading calls on this particular side. I can also, we're getting some updates here, I can also change the display. We're having a little bit of a uploading. Okay, here we go. We can also change the display so that I can get a little bit more content on my real estate. Right now we're in the full article mode. We can do summary, or we can do headlines. And as you can see here, that it helps you maximize the real estate space by giving you just the headlines. And when you see a story or headline that you're interested in, basically what you can do, you can open the story by clicking on the symbol, the ticker, or you can actually scroll your cursor over the reading pane, and you can actually see the actual story, the full story. Now, as we mentioned, on the right side, we have the trading calls. And on the left side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter it so that I basically have just everything else other than trading calls over here. So I can just make sure that I'm capturing all the rumors, broker research, market commentary that is actually showing up. So this is sort of one level of sophistication in terms of managing the flow. I'm going to put this maybe on summary mode just so that I can see more of the story as it comes through. So that's, like I said, one level of sophistication in terms of managing. The next level of sophistication, if you will, is you can actually set up custom filters. So you can actually filter your flow by sector, by symbol. You can, if you have a portfolio, obviously, or a watch list, a few stocks that you want to see if we're reporting on, you can actually set up a particular portfolio watch list filter by doing the step-by-step process. You click here, create. It asks you to name the filter, and once you have that step-by-step, it's pretty intuitive. We're not going to go through each step, but basically what will occur is you'll go back to Duel and Play, and you'll see when you select the filter again, you'll have your custom filter will appear here because you need to name each and every filter. So we have a preset custom filter already set up. Apparently it's for Apple. And also I want to make sure that we're aware that we want to make sure we're capturing all the stories, all the flow associated with that particular basket of stocks. So make sure when you do have a custom filter, I want to make sure that I have all my check marks clicked. Okay, so we had just a few stories on Apple today, but it highlights how you customize the filter. So let's go back to the basic setup that we had, so that we have all the trading calls on one side. And also, let's look at another feature that we have with regards to this particular page, which I like. I deal a lot with the FA area, financial advisors and PMs, and they're always asking me, how do I manage my portfolios? How do I manage my watch list, specifically if I have multiple ones? You can click on this particular flyout window here, and what it'll do is it'll open up a fully customizable in-play page, which will allow you to filter this particular page by the custom filter you might set up if you have your basket of stocks, or if you want, for example, one particular flow, it's earnings season right now, you want to look at just the information that's associated with the earnings, you can actually do this. Now I know that there are a number of you have multiple screens, so you can actually open up a multiple number of these windows filtered by whatever you want it to be filtered by. Basically, you could, like I say, making your watch list, your portfolio, whatever it might be. Okay, the other area that I'm just going to go over the different features of this particular page. You see the P that's here. It's called the park symbol. Oftentimes, we'll have a story that's a little bit lengthy, but also very intriguing. The headline looks pretty good. So basically, what we'll do is, if we see something that we like, we can go ahead and click this. This will park it in the area in which we can go back and visit it and read a little later when we have a little bit more time. Where you find it is over here in this particular area, the park, and you'll see the story appears here. Going back to the Duel and Play page, you will also be able to set up alerts. Same fashion as you were setting up the filters, you can set up and create alerts. And alerts will allow you to have visual alerts. It'll allow you to have audio alerts. It'll allow you to have email alerts. Same type of scenario, step by step, pretty intuitive. You name the filter, and it will come up as the flow comes through the system. And there's the archive as well. We have archives with regards to the content. Some of the archive goes back as far as 10 years. And so there's a lot of content here. What I'd like to do at this point in time is I'll transition to Damon. He'll go through a number of the actual specific actionable ideas that we come up with, some of the setups. What he'll talk about is you see that there's various tickers that are associated with various analysts that we have on staff. Many of them have their own mythology, Chart, Blue X, Scout, and he'll talk about that a little bit. And at the end, I'll go ahead and give you a little bit more information. So, Damon, I'll pass it on to you.
Okay, thanks, Craig. Hi, my name is Damon Southward. I'm the Chief Market Strategist here at Briefing.com. Also manage the trader team, and I post on the site under the scalp and yield tickers. So the first thing I'm going to do is basically just discuss how I use the service and my process each morning for consuming information. First thing I do when I roll out of bed is I go to my mobile device, my smartphone, and pull up Briefing at mobile.briefing.com. And this is the live in-play optimized for smartphones. So this is going to give you the in-play page, and any reports that we send through the system will create a teaser that will allow you to click through to that page. So even though it's one page, it will give you access to other parts of the site through individual links. Here's an example. Blue X just posted his TA page scans, and I can click on this article link, and it will give me access to the full report. So this is a report that we post typically right after the close that highlights individual technical scenarios. So pull back long candidates, pull back short candidates. So this provides a list of potential setups for the next day to allow you to do a little research. And you can click here on the link to actually see what each type of setup, the type of category it falls into, and a specific example of what that setup looks like. So I'm going to close this and go back to Duel and Play. Now next, when I sit down in the morning, when I get onto the floor, I like to use the select filter to quickly scan for information. So what I'll do is I'll go to select filter here, and say, for example, if you have all of the check marks for each category of content checked, you can hit all comments, and that'll uncheck everything. And so, for example, I like to look at broker research. I trade technical analysis, fundamental analysis, information flow. And so I go through a specific process to understand what's happening each day when I sit down. So I'll go through, look at all the broker research calls, and see if there's anything that stands out to me. If there is, I'll talk about it on the site under the scalp ticker, and we'll highlight trades on those individual names. So this is a very quick way to dig directly into the area that you're interested in at the time. As Craig noted, we do have over 1,000 updates flowing through in-play each day. So this allows me to go directly to the information I'm looking for. Next, look at earnings to see if there are any opportunities on the earnings front in terms of companies that have beaten or missed guidance or estimates. And one of the things I've been noticing of late is that when a company misses its quarter pretty severely, and you get a big gap down, shorts have been coming in and aggressively shorting the first bounce and breaking stock to new lows. So that's a little tip that I'll share with you that I've noticed of late, and it's been happening pretty frequently. Depending on the market, you might be able to actually play the bounce, short it, and then play the flush back on the long side. But I'd say the vast majority of the time you're seeing that first bounce after the gap down gets shorted after about a point and a half bounce off the lows, and then a move to new lows that takes the stock possibly 2 to 3 points below the opening price. I'm going to change the display here so you can see more information. We have the option of either having a headline view, a summary view, or a full view. Obviously, headline and summary views will allow you to get more information onto the page. So I'm just going to change to full so that you can see everything that I'm talking about. So in terms of additional information, I also like to look at the summaries each morning to see what's driving the market action. So I'll go down here to the beginning of the day and give you an example of the type of information that I pay attention to. So 517, our overnight summary, that's going to tell me where the futures are, what major market moving events occurred overseas, what's driving the U.S. futures, where overseas markets are trading, gold, silver, and economic data for the day. So to me, this is a must-read every morning. It gives me my first glimpse at what's in store for the day and what the drivers will be for that particular day. I always like to look at the where the 10-year is trading. Seeing a lot of volatility there, and having some sense of what's driving the bond market will give you insight into opportunities or what's driving equities or what may be in play in equities that day. So I'll scroll a little bit further up, and I love these TalkX comments. Always are very timely comments that tell you about what's driving action at that very moment. So like, say, in a 15-minute period, futures pop or fall dramatically, we'll quickly turn around a TalkX floor talk comment that discusses what's driving that particular action. And typically, the headlines will be out well in advance of this, and this is just a summary comment that will help you stay on top of that. S&P futures are updated about every 30 minutes or so pre-market, so you have a sense of where the futures are and what the catalysts are at that moment. This is the Asian market close. There are a lot of equities in the U.S. that trade based on Asia, like the casino names in particular, Wynn, LVS, some of the gaming names, and the social media names in China, the Sinas, the Sohus, Baidu. So it's always helpful to know where the Asian markets are trading and what the catalysts were overnight. Another area that I really pay attention to are the gapping up, gapping down comments. Gives me a summary of which stocks are moving and what the catalysts are. So, for example, here earnings movers this morning, here M&A related movers, general movers based on some catalysts, such as basically I think with the banks this morning, you're seeing a little bit of a short squeeze in general, understanding that this Greek drama wasn't going to come to an end anytime soon, and that shorts might need to cover a little bit and stand to the sideline for a moment. So now I'm going to go into some of the trading calls. We have a number of analysts here who trade different strategies. Chart, for example, focuses on futures and commodities. And so you'll see, say here, he's shorting crude, and he's trading currency. But will also, even though he's trading in the futures and commodities markets, he may also provide an individual ETF that allows you, typically a levered ETF that will allow you to participate in the trade with him. These days, given the geopolitical situation, one of the analysts that I think is very important to pay attention to is a event trader. And he does a really good job of breaking down the individual news flow regarding economic data and information coming out overseas. So everything that happens, every headline that crosses from Europe these days, Greece, Italy, etc., I look to Event Trader to give me a sense of how significant that piece of news is and how the market should react. I mean, a lot of times, or most times, I find that the market reacts to information very quickly without really having a true sense of the meaning of it. It sounds positive, so the market goes up. Sounds negative, market goes down. But most people don't really have the depth of knowledge to understand or appreciate the true value of that information, what the market had already priced in. So one thing I would recommend is each evening around 5:30 Eastern, Event posts his day ahead comment that previews the key items that you should be paying attention to that day or the next day, such as GDP coming out of China or out of Europe, or any type of central bank move that's planned for that evening or the next morning, or meetings, say for example these days ECB meetings or meetings related to the bailout of Greece and the EFSI. So I think it's really important to stay on top of what traders are going to be paying attention to, big traders in the market, by having a sense of the fundamental backdrop there. And I think this gives you an edge in terms of putting on your own trades, but we will also post a lot of trades based on our analysis of these market-moving events and these news headlines. Commodities trader focuses obviously on commodities, and he focuses basically from a technical and fundamental standpoint. So as you'll see here, he's digging down into the fundamental story of this particular name as a shipper and helping you gain some insight into why he thinks the stock is going to move a certain way. And he has a very good sense of what's going on from a fundamental standpoint, while also incorporating technicals to help time positions. I'm going to go down and just kind of go over a couple of my trades for the day. And typically on a Fed day, I take it pretty slow because of typically you'll see a lot of sideways chop in the morning, then a tremendous amount of volatility in the afternoon on Fed days. So it tends to be one of my less active trading days. But I think I maybe had 5 trades today. So, for example, I'll give you, go down to First Solar, which is a trade that I traded both short and long today. And the idea is with, go to the original comment. Okay, so here at 9:59, I'm talking about the rumor that just came out on First Solar that was a takeover rumor, and basically just explaining to people that I don't think anyone's going to buy First Solar, and I think most people realize that the state that the company was in at the current time, that no one's going to buy them. So that pop is going to be faded, and that you should fade that pop. However, understanding that this is already a heavily shorted name, and it could reverse back pretty sharply and squeeze. So in suggesting going short the First Solar, we see that I'm telling people to lock in profits on the way down. And at 10:07, the idea was to close out the remainder of the First Solar short and then flip long, which plays into the exact scenario that I was discussing, and that the stock should pull back because shorts would quickly realize that First Solar isn't going to get acquired, and this is a meaty opportunity to fade this name. But at the same time, this is dealing with a name that already has significant short interest, and given the price strength in the market and the underlying name, I felt that it would quite easily snap back and possibly retake the highs. So you see that I'm advising to take profits here, to take more profits here, and to take off the rest here. And that was actually close to the rebound highs. So just that combination of understanding information flow and being right there in the middle of the information flow, understanding the technicals and the fundamentals of the stock allowed me to trade First Solar from a long side, short side, make money both ways, and then move to the sideline. Blue chip trader is someone I would pay attention to. He focuses more on an intraday to swing basis, whereas I focus more intraday for my scalp trades, but for some of my other kind of outside of equities trades, I focus on a longer term time frame. But for individuals looking for intraday to swing, I would definitely recommend looking at Blue chip trader. And I'm going to take you to a column, a report that he updates each day. And it's under Trading Ideas, Technical Analysis. And this is one of the pages that I try to look at each morning, the liquid momentum. And what it does is it provides a list of the most technically strong, trending, large cap names in the market. So these are names that traders who are looking for trending names or want to try to trade liquid names, and especially if you're trading size, these are the types of names that you should keep in front of you. The list changes on a regular basis. You'll typically see that 75 to 80% of the same names remain on the list week to week, and maybe 20 to 25% turnover on some of the other names. But one of the things I find is important is to keep the fresh, trending names in front of you, because those are the names, for example, when we get a market gapping down aggressively, and I think that we have a good chance to snap back, one of the things I do is I go to look at the top names on this liquid momentum list, because these are the names that typically are the first to get bought and to gap downs. And you'll see, even if the market's making fresh lows, a lot of times these names will start to reverse 10, 15 minutes before the broader market reverses. So a name like Deckers, for example, you have some metrics here. You see the float is 38 million shares, which is very small. Has a fair size short interest, trades very actively, 1.5 million shares per day, and has very high relative strength and a very nice ATR, which is the average true range. So this stock trades on average a 5.17 point range per day, so essentially 5 points per day. So on a gap down, especially on gap down days, that range might expand to 7 or 8 points. So they might gap down 3 or 4 points with the market and then have a 8-point reversal off those lows. So those are the types of names that I like to find in gap down days. And this is one of the places I go when the market is set to gap down to find the types of stocks that I want to be buying into that initial bounce. And even if the market bounces and starts to come back to the lows, typically these have recovered 2, 3, 4 points already. So you can lock in your gains and move along. So I think this is a great page to look at it on a daily basis, but in particular on days where the market is in a general uptrend, but it's gapping down due to some specific news event. So especially like if it's economic data out of China or Europe and not something that's U.S. focused, or it's not due to a U.S. issue. I like to find these names that are gapping down and play them for rebounds. Another page that I really like to pay attention to each morning, and this is under Trading Ideas, Exchange Traded Funds. It is the ETF Daily Notes, and that's written by Chart Trader. And it's updated each morning about 45 minutes to an hour before the open. And he provides a macro perspective, but highlights individual trades and the futures and commodities and different ETFs, and provides a lot of education and insight into the big picture of the market. So kind of standing back from the 100-foot view of the market and giving you some crisp insight into what he thinks is going to happen over the short term, but also over the intermediate term. And it's a good place to generate swing ideas. And another area that I think you should really pay attention to is the Trading Ideas fundamental area. And so I open that up. There are several reports here, such as the Emerging Growth, which is a proprietary screen that focuses on names that are showing relative strength, but also very strong fundamentals, such as double or triple-digit earnings or revenue growth, very nice growth metrics that the growth funds tend to pay attention to. And by using a combination of technical analysis and fundamental analysis, we tend to uncover a lot of really attractive opportunities, and a lot of times catching them really early on. And one of the things we do a really good job of is breaking down the fundamental story behind these names. And as you can see here, you can see some of the performance of some of the names, recent performance of some of the names that have been on the list. And I'm going to keep moving through. I tend to trade a lot of syndicate, and I pay attention to the Next Big Thing report, which focuses on IPOs. And as you'll see here, we wrote up the Groupon IPO, and our general take is that the stock should pop, but we're not a fan of it fundamentally. So this allows you to really dig into some of the IPOs that are coming. One of the things I particularly pay attention to are some of the names that aren't high profile, that are under the radar. And the Next Big Thing goes in and analyzes those names and gives you a sense of the overall appeal of these names. And a lot of times, if it's under the radar, it might not price that strongly, and it might not open that strongly. It'll give you an opportunity to potentially buy it at the open, or to even if you have a relationship with one of the underwriting firms, to call the firm to get a piece of the stock and take advantage of the IPO pop. So I'm going to stop here, and we're going to take some questions. And see, it looks like the first question here is, several of us would be interested in picks for options. Could you include that in your service? And we do have options coverage, and actually here under the special reports area, you'll see we have a variety of options coverage. I'm going to go into the archive to just give you a sample of the types of options coverage that we provide. So here you'll see our weekly biotech pharma volatility tracker that provides a review of FDA events and stocks that have a very high likelihood of strong options moves or price moves based on these FDA events. And so we preview them to give you a sense of when the date will occur and what analysts are saying about the stock going into the event to try to set the market expectation. You'll see our pre-earnings options analysis. We highlight stocks that are showing interesting options activity ahead of the earnings reports. Here's a report where we focus on providing enhanced yield with covered call strategy. We'll also provide individual trading ideas on the options side, particularly multi-day or multi-week trades based on some event that's expected over the next few days or weeks. All right, so I'm going to go on to the next question. Where will we find more research on yield instruments like preferreds, MLPs, and bonds? And so I'm going to go back to the in-play page. And one of the tickers that we use for yield coverage on yield instruments, is the specialty ticker yield. So if I plug that in, yield, you'll see some of the coverage. And actually, I wrote a yield piece earlier this week focusing on syndicate. Groupon happened to be in there, but there are also 2 IPOs coming this week that they're royalty trusts, which I've done really well in this year trading these. They're not an area that most people are familiar with, but a lot of times they're providing double-digit yields and basically exposure to commodities prices. So this is my overview of these 2 yield deals that are coming this week. And if you want to read that, you can go to in-play and plug in the yield ticker. Here's a summary of different types of yield instruments that I trade and my view on them at the time. And so you can go through here. And one of the things we also do is try to provide broker research that's talking about specific yield instruments such as MLPs, agency REITs, a variety of different yield plays, and whenever we come across a note that's of interest, we'll put that out there to kind of give you the latest on what the sell-side community is thinking about these types of names. And I'm looking for the next question here. Okay, the next question is, do you have info on the trading methodology used by each trader? And what you can do is plug in the ticker style to uncover that information. And this is our trader style guide. And we update this approximately once per quarter to give you a sense of position sizes that we typically take, our risk parameters, and just our overall strategy. So you see blue X there, chart, scalp, beta, trader. Okay, where can I find a list of all briefing tickers such as scalp and blue X? So as you notice, we do provide the briefing custom tickers, and we do this so that you can create filters and alerts under these individual tickers. So IPOXX relates to IPOs, so the next big thing page. Fusion IPO is a recent IPO that we've been covering and that we were very high on. But to find the complete list, you can go up to the help area here. Click there. And I would just search the page by ticker. And you'll see it comes down to product-specific questions. I notice many ticker symbols in-play entries that are not associated with the real company. What are these? And it'll give you the overview. And here's a link that takes you out to the actual ticker list. And you'll see all of the custom tickers that we provide that allow you to really customize your receipt of the different types of information by category. And scanning here for additional questions. Okay, well that looks like that's going to do it for us. And Craig, I'll let you close.
Great. Thanks, Damon. That was fantastic. So as you can see, Briefing.com really provides a breadth of information, a really broad breadth of information. I think I just wanted to mention that the concept really about Briefing.com, what we try to achieve is basically you're not just hiring a couple of people to pick stocks. You're actually hiring a research team. We have 40 analysts here that are scouring the market each and every day to look for opportunities. We didn't talk about necessarily some of the other areas, but we actually have the full calendar section with earnings and broker research, economic releases. We have macro perspective on the market, thematic in nature in some instances, where we're talking about various themes that are highlighted throughout the market. So we look at the market from a total perspective. Obviously, you guys are traders and you're looking for actionable ideas, so you're going to rest a lot of your time on the in-play, briefing in-play section. But as Damon mentioned with the First Solar and with the swing trade type opportunities and the yield opportunities, we provide a pretty broad perspective and uncover opportunities for you. Many of you are on trial right now, so please contact your sales reps and they can give you a one-on-one demo. If you're not on trial, please contact customer service, send us an email. We can get you up and running and give you a couple 3-week trial and see if we can help you make some money. So I want to thank everybody for attending. We're going to do these on a somewhat regular basis. And thanks again. Have a great afternoon. Great trading tomorrow.